Hello students, this is USA Citizenship, page 8. We begin chapter 4, History, Independence. You need page 8 and a pen or pencil. Here are the words that you'll learn in this video. All the pages are available at my website on this link. Ready? In the last video, we left in the year 1776. Remember, there were 13 colonies here on the east coast of North America. Here are the names of the 13 colonies. Georgia was one of those colonies. There were big problems, though. Let's zoom out to the world map. So here are the 13 colonies. Here's the world. Here's the Atlantic Ocean. This is King George of England. This king of this tiny island, Great Britain, across the sea, was also the king of the colonies. The situation didn't work very well. By the way, we have one country with two names. The country is here. It's called England, also Britain. Same country, or Great Britain. The people are the English or the British. Same people. And the language is English. Let's look at your paper. In 1776, the American colonies were ruled by King George of England. Pause your video and write England. England is the same as Britain. Say that. England is the same as Britain. The English people are the same as the British people. Say that. Pause the video and write Britain and British. So, there were big problems between the American colonists and the British, and this led to war. War is fighting between countries that goes on for a long time. Independence is freedom, freedom from someone else controlling you. So in 1776, the War of Independence began between the American colonists and the British. So, what were the problems? Why did the colonists fight the British? There were three main reasons. Number one, the colonists wanted self-government. They did not want a king, and they especially did not want King George of England. They wanted to choose their own leaders. That's what self-government is. Number two, high taxes. The colonists had to pay high taxes, money, to the British government. This didn't seem fair to the colonists, to the Americans. Third, the British army stayed in the houses of the colonists. The army were the men who worked as soldiers here. They had guns and swords. They were prepared to fight. Can you imagine having them in your house when they might be ready to fight you? Most of the colonists wanted the British to go away. Look at your paper. The colonists fought against the British in the War of Independence. The colonists fought because they wanted self-government. Say the sentence, they wanted self-government. They had to pay high taxes. Say the sentence. The British army stayed in their houses. Say that sentence. Pause the video and write government for self-government, taxes, high taxes, and army. So the colonists wrote a major or very important document, the Declaration of Independence. Document is the same as paper. A declaration is a letter for everyone to read. Independence is freedom. This letter told everyone they were free from Britain, free from King George. Who wrote the Declaration of Independence? Thomas Jefferson was the main author. Other people helped, but mainly Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. Look at your paper. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. Say Declaration of Independence. Say the sentence, Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. Pause the video and write Declaration of Independence. On July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was adopted by the colonists. This means that the leaders of the 13 colonies agreed with the ideas, and they signed the document. Did you know that July 4th is a national holiday? Every year we celebrate Independence Day on July 4th with fireworks. Look at your paper. The Declaration of Independence was adopted on July 4th, 1776. Say July 4th. Say the sentence. The Declaration of Independence was adopted on July 4th, 1776. Pause the video and write July 4th, 1776. The American colonists adopted the Declaration of Independence, or accepted it. However, the British did not. And so we had a war, 7 more years of war. Our army didn't have money or nice uniforms. In school, students learn all kinds of interesting things about the war, some of the major events of the war, like the crossing of the Delaware, the Battle of Yorktown. Finally, the Americans won after 7 years, and the United States was independent from the British. Look at your paper. The Americans won the war in 1783. Pause the video and write Americans. Say the sentence after me. The Americans won the war in 1783. The important thing to remember is not the date, but that the Americans won the war. The leader of the colonial army, or the general, was George Washington. After the war, George Washington became the first president of the United States. Look at your paper. The first United States president was George Washington. Say George Washington. Say the first president was George Washington. Pause the video and write George Washington. George Washington did many important things as general, president. He's even on the dollar bill. You recognize him. So, some people call George Washington the father of our country. Look at your paper. The father of our country was George Washington. Pause the video and write George Washington, the father of our country. Okay, time for review. In 1776, which country ruled the colonists in America? England, or Britain. Remember, it's the same country. Number 2, why did the colonists fight the British? There were 3 reasons. Can you remember the reasons? Because they wanted self-government, because of high taxes, because the British Army stayed in their houses. On the citizenship test, you only need to know one of these answers. Number 3, who wrote the Declaration of Independence? Right, Thomas Jefferson. Number 4, when was the Declaration of Independence adopted? July 4th, 1776. Who was the first president? George Washington. Who was the father of our country? Right, George Washington. All right, this is the end of page 8. To continue chapter 4, watch the video USA Citizenship, page 9. Thank you for watching.